Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Wrestling RHAPup podcast. I'm your host, Mari Forth, and with me, as always, my co host, my tag team partner, Mr. Matt Scott. Matt, how's it going?
Wonderful, Mari. Wonderful. We're seeing you coast to coast from the DC coast to the Brooklyn. You know what? It's great. Having a good
Yeah.
time here. I don't know how geography and bodies of water work, but happy to be here as always.
Yes, and with us, we also have a very special guest who also was at Survivor Series with us
Oh,
on Sunday, Mr. Ari Ferarri. Ari, how's it going?
yeah,
Thank
too
you for having
sweet.
me. You're here with Ari Ferarri. We're
Yeah,
back with the Ari squared, the Ari
yeah,
Mari tag
yeah,
team, and with Matt, of
yeah,
course. We're
Looking
Ma'am.
yeah.
good. Yeah.
As our manager,
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Let's go.
Yes, Ari, thank you so much for coming. So we're doing a very special Survivor Series reaction podcast here. And we're so glad to have you on. We all coordinated going to Survivor Series, and it's just so good to have another voice on here to filter all of our reactions through, because normally we do it right after the pay-per-view on
Mhm.
stereo, but now we've given it a few days to breathe. We're going to go into our experiences at, in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. So just like briefly, how was your experience at Survivor Series, Ari?
So we of course the Survivor Series event was lovely because we met up for a nice dinner beforehand, of
Yes.
course, with some other podcast friends. But
Mhm.
Mhm.
now what's brilliant about this podcast is, although we did go to the same event,
We
we
did.
did not sit next to each other. So I have no
No.
idea what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
But for me, I had a lot of fun just watching, actually paying attention to some of the fashion from the wrestlers and the
Mm.
matches. So that's what really caught my eye. I think wrestling attire very interesting. I want to talk a bit more about that, beyond just the matches. We're in fall. We're changing seasons, changing
Mhm.
our
Our
style.
wardrobes, yes, and we will
Yeah,
definitely get into the fashion
as
of
always.
Survivor Series. Matt, how about you? How was your experience, real quick? A little bit.
Well, I thought we were gonna kayfabe the fact that Ari wasn't sitting with us because
Oh,
we were
I
in,
mean,
weren't we in like a skybox with
oh
the
yeah, we were
all of
with
the
champagne
all the
and yeah,
fixins? Yeah,
and
yeah,
nice
it was
recliner
great.
seats. We were
Yeah,
not.
I liked
We
those
were
a
not,
lot
y'all.
too. It was a good time. I'm used to like being front row at these shows and
Are you?
mostly just surrounded by my security, just so I don't be near the normal peasants. Some people would say, not me,
Yeah.
but
Sorry,
you
you
know
had to
how it
lower your
is.
standard to sit
Uh,
next to me this time.
Honestly, that was the hardest part. We did sign a
Mm.
lot of autographs. I will say the one notable shoot thing that actually happened.
Oh
There was some
no.
kind of YouTuber
Yes.
who threw a bunch of business cards at us. Luckily, I lost it, so I
Yes,
have no clue
legit.
who he is. But he's
Yeah.
somewhere on
It was
this
like Tony
YouTube
something.
platform. Who
Yeah.
cares? Who
And
cares?
he
But
was like
good time.
yelling and promoting himself, and he literally threw a stack of business cards into our section, but they didn't disperse. All of them hit a lady like right above us. Like they went flying over my shoulder and hit a lady like
So he
Yeah,
committed
right above
assault,
us.
essentially. He
talk
just
about
dropped
epic.
an anvil on this poor woman.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
and
was
then
so
so she was like,
impressive.
"What was that?" And she was like handing out the card. She was like, "Y'all want the card?" Like, no, we don't
No,
want the
but I
cards.
do have one somewhere, and shout out to that man
To that
for
man.
giving us like the true Brooklyn experience when it comes to wrestling. That's why I feel, and I felt like there was a little bit of that. Actually, that was like the peak of
Yes.
New York fan energy that I think we
Yes.
got. For the rest of
It
the
was
night, I
the
was
peak of it.
as someone who grew up like going to shows in Brooklyn, in New York, in New Jersey. I felt a little disappointed by the energy, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was yeah, it was interesting, but that was definitely very funny. We met up with the RHAP recappers beforehand, had some
Whoop, whoop,
drinks, had
whoop,
some
whoop,
dinner,
whoop, whoop.
was a nice pregame. So the experience was really fun. I It sucks that we didn't get to meet up with sorry, I forget how you pronounce her name. was it Ariana, one of the RHAP people who
Shout
was it
out,
is that
shout out. Thank you for
yeah.
being there, for hitting
We
us up.
tried. We tried.
We
Alicia.
tried.
Yes, Alicia. Sorry,
We
Alicia.
also didn't meet up with
Yes.
Ariana Grande. That's right. Ariana was also in the
Yeah,
DMs
Matt.
trying to find us in the arena.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works.
Matt was
But
like, I
yes,
can't lower
Alicia.
myself for that.
I could lower myself for
For
well, actually,
Ariana
I guess I wouldn't be
Grande.
lowering myself to talk with Alicia. For Ariana,
No,
yes.
for Ariana.
But Alicia would have been amazing to me. Alicia, shout out if you're listening. Massive
Yes,
arena,
so
lots of people, so many people that we couldn't
I
sit with
know.
Ari. So sad.
That was the
But
one thing I
actually-
really wish. But next time, for real.
But speaking of Mari, we're talking about the fan experience. And what was
Yes.
it like for you, like as someone who's been to a number of WWE shows at Barclays, right? Like
Yes,
what
I
was it
have.
like for you? What was it like for you in that arena, taking
So
it all in?
so this is our show. So we are not gonna we can do whatever we want to. I'm gonna do the shoot right now. Y'all know whenever I feel like doing the shoot early, I have some things to say.
Mari,
So
you can't just do that. You
Maybe
can't just
maybe I
bring a
should
shoot
introduce
on
you.
us.
Maybe I'll be Mean Gene Okerlund, and you can express yourself freely.
If you
I'm
want
standing
to.
here
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
Mari. You had a big night the other night. Tell me how you feel.
I feel like I was in a very disrespectful space, you know? Like this is my third time in a Brooklyn crowd. Like this is my third time at a pay-per-view at Brooklyn. And you know, like I've said on this podcast a few thousands of times probably at this point, I was there with the beach ball stunt. You know, it's just so annoying to me, and I hate that for the performers. So what we really have to talk about is during the women's elimination match, the crowd started. I mean, first off, they started a freaking wave at the very top of the arena, and me and Matt were sitting there like, no, like, and at first it looked like it was gonna die down. I was like, okay, it'll die down. It's at the top, nobody cares. But then after a while, it built up, and then it finally like hit the whole arena during the match, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit more once we get to the actual match. But like, it pissed me off so much because it was only the women's match. You know what I'm saying? There's only 2 women's matches on this card, you know, and you got to be disrespectful to the one with the most women in it. Like, I thought it was really annoying. Again, we'll talk about probably why a little bit later.
Break it down.
Second,
break it down.
Yeah, we'll break it down. Well, I want to
down.
break it down as we talk about the match itself. But like, secondly, the CM Punk chants, like, so there were CM Punk chants. Immediately, me and Matt were like, "Boo!" We started booing the CM Punk chants, which I don't even know how that felt like for the performers who are still
Let me just clarify. I did
match.
not start booing. I was embarrassed. I put my head down. I somehow I'm not flexible, but had my head tucked between my legs.
I booed those chants. I'm telling people to shut up.
To be fair to the Brooklyn
Punk.
crowd, this is the first event. Post everything.
Yes.
Maybe they forgot. They're going back to 2019. 2018, maybe they're just stuck there. Man, let's be a little more forgiving to the Brooklyn crowd.
What's wrong with the wave?
I know you are a New Yorker, Ari, but I am not. I am unforgiving. You paid your money. I paid money. I paid hundreds of dollars to be here, man.
Oh my God.
I paid hundreds of dollars to be here to watch this wrestling show.
You didn't have your ticket comped?
Oh no, I'm not. No, I'm not as special as you are, apparently.
Okay.
So, and you did too. Everybody, you paid to be here. So if you are paying to be here and then you do CM Punk chants because you want to like shit on the product, sorry, you already paid. Like you paid them. So that's not the flex you think it is. All right, that's not the flex you think it is.
But Mari,
I paid less.
Yeah.
You know what they always say? They always say, you paid for your tickets. You have a right to react however you want, to say what you want. That's your right as a fan in the stands. Now, I don't agree with how most people chose to use their voices in the crowd. But you know what? Some people, playing devil's advocate, as annoyed as I was, because I was thoroughly annoyed, I'm just like, whatever. This is
I
like
was so
this is what happens when the product is not booked in a way that's really gripping people, because I've been in those in so many shows in that area where the crowd is so hot, the crowd's on fire, you're getting WWE actually putting out special things, and I think that this is kind of a reflection less on the crowd, more on the fact that WWE kind of just was like not trying at all for this show.
You know what? I was sitting
That's
I was
bullshit,
sitting
but okay.
in an area that requires
No, I mean-
binoculars, and so when I was watching the
Mhm.
match, I was so focused on the match, I just thought the cheering was for the match. So I don't know, maybe it's just a matter of perspective. Because
Because you just didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so going back, like if you watch, I went back and I watched the telecast. You know, I watched the broadcast, the replay of the broadcast, because I wanted to see how it came off on TV. And the camera people did a pretty good job like not showing the wave once it came down to the lower level, because it was on the higher level for much longer until it finally came down to the lower level, and it only did like one rotation around the lower level before Sasha and Bianca jumped in. And again, this is what I wanted to say for later, but like I I I don't necessarily agree with that, Matt. Like the whole like, oh, it has to be gripping to hold your attention, because I just kind of think like wrestling fans nowadays, they want to be a part of the show, and we will talk about that in 2 seconds. And for me, I've never had that, I've never had that mentality like I need to be seen. I need to make my my voice felt, at least for stuff that I don't like, should I say. For here, for us, our, one of the things we say is wrestling is for everybody, but not all wrestling is for everybody. So if it's something I don't like, and we've told you guys this before, if it's something that we don't like, more than likely it will just not be on the show. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's like something really big. So vocalizing your hatred for something, outside of kayfabe, outside of heel face dynamics and stuff like that, is just very annoying to me. And it's like you're trying to hijack the show. I'm on record, I'm on record for saying I don't like when fans hijack a show. So I don't care how anybody takes that, because that's just my feelings. That's how I feel about it. And I just don't like that nowadays it does feel like we're so busy trying to pat ourselves on the back that we're forgetting who's like in the ring there. And the reason why I'm more fired up about it than usual is because 9 times out of 10 this happens only with the women, which is the part that pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me that Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley going in there trading like counters is like boring, because to me it was not. And I just find it disrespectful, because they feel like it's okay to do that to the women.
Yeah, what I will say though is that with that match in particular, and a lot of like, I think like I also just want to make sure to put out the other perspective that the match, like there was so much happening in the match that wasn't like phenomenal story, wasn't necessarily like lending itself to being cheered by the fans. The match was super long. I would say the match went on, the way that they booked it, the match went on for too long, because we got like different parts to the way that it was broken down. And by the time like we got Sasha and Bianca in the ring, that's when I felt like the fans were getting back into it. But
Yeah,
there was a piece before that where they were just like so out of it. And yes, it's disrespectful, but at the same time, it's like, what are we even doing with this match and with this show? That doesn't, that the way that it's booked does not help. But I hear what you're saying too, because like fans will do what fans have been shown to be part of the, like, to your point, to push themselves to be part of the show in all these ways that are not appropriate, right? But this one, I just feel like the match didn't help anything. It's not like we were watching a 5-star or a 3-star classic.
Battle Royale was right before it. That was the most boring. That was the most boring match on the card. So they didn't get the wave. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I don't necessarily agree with that, in a sense. Like, I don't know. I went back and I watched it on TV, when I watched it on the cable, I thought it might. I think maybe it came off more compelling on TV because there were a lot of nuances in that match that I did not know was happening from my seat, and that I can definitely say. Like if you go back and watch it, there's so much infighting on the SmackDown women's side before they turn on Sasha that it was just not as apparent to me as it was when we were in our seats. So yeah, maybe you can point to that as something that they should work on when it comes to booking for the live audience itself. But and I do agree, like less engaging stuff will of course disengage your audience, and I do think that that was the perfectly wrong spot for them to go on.
Mm-hmm.
Second to last before the main event, that's always like the death spot, because we were saying it as we were sitting in our seats that we thought that they would have gone on. We thought that battle royale, again, the one that went on right before them, was going to be the last thing to go on right before the
It really should
headliner.
have been
It should have been.
well, no, it should not have been. It should have
Oh,
been
it
the
should have been on the
pre-show.
pre-show. Yeah,
Because like
yeah,
what
I agree.
that was a waste of time. But also
So I do
like
think the slot affected it as well.
but I think the other thing with the battle royal, and we'll get to talking about it, is that it was just so ridiculous that like I wouldn't say it like what why is pizza involved in here? Why is pizza? We'll get to it. We'll get to it as we
Yeah.
go along. But there's a
Yeah,
lot to be
but
said there.
yeah, I'm sorry.
And that women's Survivor Series match, it was the second longest on the whole card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So why would it go on that late? Anyway,
although at the time, the fans don't know it's how long it is.
No.
Yeah.
No. But it did feel like that.
But
like
it's an elimination style match. It needs to be long. So they should have managed the placement more than anything.
I will say, like, the thing, we'll get to this more, but I think the way that the men's match was booked to me was a bit stronger than the way the women's match was booked. But we're not here to talk about our overview thoughts.
I don't
of
remember
everything.
a thing about the men's match. So and then finally, shooting on the fans. Raw last night, a fan jumped the barricade. Not even jumped a barricade, yo. He came from stage right. Like, how on God's green earth did he get over there? Like, where's the security? He came all the way from stage right, running down and basically tackling Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins managed to get him into a chokehold before the refs and people came and dragged that fan off. But that fan was literally trying to injure Seth. Like, he was legit throwing elbows and feet and stuff at Seth. And I'm just like, where do y'all get the audacity? Like, where on God's green earth do y'all get the audacity to think that you can fight wrestlers or anybody or be that disrespectful? Again, you paid for this, yo. You paid to come here and do some stupid stuff and then get hit with like assault charges and stuff like that. It is so mind-boggling to me. Ari, you have something to say?
You love to see people paying money to go to jail. I was going to say is when you first see the clip, it looks like it's a part of the show.
Yeah.
It was a full-on Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns-esque gore tackle.
Mm-hmm. And Seth did a great job of not only just like taking, if you look at one angle, you might think, oh my God, he really got the better of Seth. But if you look at the other one, Seth like legit went into a straight up chokehold. And if that ref hadn't broken it and the guy then like grabbed Seth's hair after the ref broken it, he could have probably put that dude out for real. So that guy might want to thank that ref for releasing that chokehold, because that was like a real naked choke or something like that on that guy. And that one takes all of like 10 seconds to put somebody out.
Hey, here's the good news: you'll never see him at a show ever again.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And then of course more fans, as the night went on, we had more fans harassing the talent. MVP Seth Rollins and Montez Ford almost got into it with a fan that had a sign that says Montez is doo-doo, which is just like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we really doing here? Like,
but I
be
think
respectful to the talent, man.
But the other thing I want to say about this, like, is that there are so many great fans that are in attendance. Like
Oh yeah.
I hate that like that is what takes our energy when it's like, okay, here's this person who's clearly not in like doing the right thing. I don't know what their state is, but clearly not
Yeah.
in the right place. Literally, like they don't belong on that side of the barricade doing what they're doing, right? But I think like it's kind of tough too, because it's this balance of like, do we put our energy toward those people who are like the outliers? Do we put our energy toward the people who are like us, who are just having a great time showing up to love the stuff that we
Right.
love? And I always struggle with that, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I only make this comment to say we see you, awesome fans.
Yes, awesome fans.
But also
yes.
we're still frustrated by the horrible ones
Exactly.
who just want to make the show about them, right?
And unfortunately, and I guess again the reason why I'm just so over it is because Brooklyn in particular, this has kind of been a running theme, because this was also the place where Bret Hart, I think, got got
Oh my
attacked for
gosh.
this, like,
Was
there's
it
been a
here?
fan attacking, like, this is like the second show in a row for them, so
Yeah.
it just is not a good look. And so on the internet, people are like, okay, well, sorry, Barclays Center might have to be crossed off the list for a year or two, because of some of this stuff. And that's, that can't be squarely on the fans. That should be also on security. Like, you know, security has to like maybe tighten up at the Barclays Center before they return. But you're right, Matt. It sucks, because it just paints a very broad negative brush for the rest of the people who were in attendance, who did enjoy their time, who were participating like they were supposed to, and not jumping barricades and stuff. So it was just a lot. I'm just like, y'all are doing too much. Like,
It's just
guys,
Brooklyn.
you're like, this is
Brooklyn.
fake fighting. Like, not even not Brooklyn. I'm just saying,
Brooklyn go
like,
hard.
Oh, it's Brooklyn though.
It's Brooklyn.
Yeah,
like, this
just
is
be ready
too
for
much.
it. Like, no,
It's too
don't
much.
get no. We want more. That's what we want. More of this, and we want
No.
just like, I think anytime
what?
that we're in Brooklyn, just make it like an Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Just bring in like the barbed wire, the steel chairs, the tape. Just like that.
Oh,
that might
God.
discourage
You know what?
things a little
the
bit. I'm just saying. I have
if the
suggestions.
talent if the talent's gonna be visiting Brooklyn, get that Brooklyn experience. Know what it feels like to be a resident.
Yeah.
You might get a stack of cards
Random
thrown at
fights.
you, or you might get attacked every now and then.
Yeah.
We're
Almost got
just
slapped
welcoming
in the
you
face
to
with a
the
stack
show.
of business
Yeah,
cards.
it's a nice welcome.
We should have known.
Okay, so
Good
box
times.
away, anger
Fans,
down.
fans stuff. We love the
Let's
fans.
move on.
Yeah.
We did get an email this week.
Oh!
Of course, we love when we get our
I'm always so
emails.
caught off guard.
Yeah, I know, right? An outline.
Just never know what to expect.
So Matt, who do we have an email from?
We got an email from Jacob, and Jacob said just that like they really thought the pay-per-view was really solid, and it was shocking for me though how many wins Raw was given, which is a great point, because as Mari and I were saying as we were sitting there, just a lot basically almost all of the matches were won by Raw, with a couple of exceptions. I think it's the Nakamura Priest one, and then the Roman Big E one. Maybe the Nakamura Priest one ended in a no contest. But anyway, Jacob mentions favorite moments: Charlotte versus Becky, the entire match, women's Survivor match, which we've talked about a little bit. It was messy, but always happy to see Bianca win. RK Bro versus Usos. This one was the big surprise to me. I thought the Bloodline would be fully victorious for SmackDown. And then final points from Jacob. I want no storyline ever that involves Mr. McMahon's egg.
More on that later.
Yeah. Agreed.
Where's grapefruits?
Thank you so much, Jacob, for that email. We always appreciate it. If you want to get in on the email action, you can always send an email to wrestling@robhasawebsite.com. Or you can follow us on Twitter at WrestlingRHAPup on Twitter, and you can use hashtag WrestlingRHAPup to join the conversation. Also, we love to shout out our our favorite unofficial official Facebook group. Job has a squad cast. You can always check us out in there as well. Okay, guys. Let's get into Survivor Series review.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just
Survivor
caught
Series.
up on grapefruits. Took me back.
All right, so like we said, there was a kickoff. The kickoff show, they ended up doing the Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura versus the U.S. Champion Damian Priest, which, we perfectly timed it. That's when we got to our seats and stuff. And we all called it. We were like, there's a pretty good chance that this will end up on the pre-show. But all in all, very solid match to start the show, I would say. Rick Boogs was in attendance, playing Shinsuke in. Loved it. Loved seeing it live. The only thing I was sad about was not hearing Pat McAfee big up Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick. Like, I love that. Is literally one of my favorite parts of SmackDown every week. So not being able to hear it, but seeing him on the desk was
seeing
very
it was
funny.
great. Seeing it uninterrupted, like that's what I was watching the entire intro, because I was surprised that he was on that announce desk for so long.
Yeah,
like minutes,
the whole time,
actual minutes. Yeah, wow, commitment.
Rick Boogs does nothing but give me a smile on my face every time he played the guitar. It was just so I'm focused on the match. They do a really good job. I'm ping-ponging between the match and then I forget about Rick Boogs, and then he hits the riff, and then I'm like, oh, Rick Boogs, and then the smile overcomes, and then it dies down. I go back to the match, and then every now and then we get a little intermission. I love Rick Boogs. We need more Rick Boogs.
And it was such a great match too. Like Shinsuke and Damian Priest really do have what seemed like really good chemistry for. I think this is the first time we've seen them face off. So
it's because they really shop at the same place. They have the same pants.
Yeah,
damn, they do.
they got the same tailor.
We're talking should really fashion. Be a tag team.
We're talking fashion, and that's a good point. We do have the picture up. If you are watching us on YouTube, go to Rob Has a Podcast, or if you want to watch us on YouTube, go to Rob Has a Podcast on YouTube. Search for the Wrestling RHAPup, and you can see these lovely pictures that Matt has up here. But yeah, it was a really good match. There was like almost strong style type of match, not WWE style, strong style. But like Ari would say, every time Damian Priest would kind of get the better of Nakamura, Rick Boogs would play the guitar. He'd play a riff on the guitar. And it really did answer like a question for me. Like I always knew Rick Boogs was playing live, but you just kind of never know, especially with like with the entrance music as well. But he is like legit just shredding that guitar like in person. It's so amazing, especially since it's very loud in the arena.
Well, so I have questions. I was wondering about that actually. Like, is he playing live?
Yeah, I think that's what it looked like in person.
We were far away though.
We were far away, but that would mean if it was like pre-taped or anything like that, like they would have to really get that timing right, because it was perfectly timed in the match.
I was looking at him like, wait a minute, do they have it just like the canned sound effect where he gives a signal and then they're like, okay, let's and they have like, I don't know, like the former WWE production Jim Johnston back there, like with his little guitar, like I could see it.
No, that's too much. I think Rick.
I think your theory is probably more correct, but I did think about that as I was sitting there.
But I wasn't sure. It was a good turning point in the match where Damian Priest like basically kind of had Shinsuke down. Rick starts to do the guitar. It like kind of hypes Nakamura up, and so Priest kind of puts Nakamura on the mat for a little bit, and Priest goes to go deal with Rick Boogs, and he breaks the guitar, man. Damian Priest broke Rick Boogs' guitar. Like I was not expecting it. Priest is supposed to be a good guy last time I had checked. Oh my God, Matt, you're giving us whiplash here. There's
Look,
so
you
many
gotta just
pictures of
take
this
it all
match.
in. That's what it's all
Honestly,
about.
honestly, you can look at every picture in this match and it'll tell you exactly the story what happened in this match. But yeah, so Damian Priest takes the guitar and then just snaps it over his knee, which was very easy.
His
But
I mean,
explanation after the match
yeah,
and the
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 adrenaline.
post was that he doesn't like to be disrespected. So I don't know. I felt like
yeah,
the end of the match almost felt like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Like he was like
Yeah.
like Damian Priest couldn't help but be annoyed by the tiny fly that's like flying around the room. Like just do the match.
right. Just do the match. Exactly. So he breaks the guitar. It ends up in a no contest because I think he hits Boogs with the guitar and then he turns around and hits Shinsuke with the guitar.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
a DQ.
I
Or what?
mean,
Yeah, DQ with Shinsuke winning technically.
you know what?
So
What's so
And
sad
then
about
one of
that?
these.
yeah,
Just
fishy.
like we don't. I feel like Rick Boogs really was disrespected here because he was hit with that guitar. His guitar. He was hit with his guitar and not the little skinny part. He was hit with the
Mhm.
thick part. The thick
Yep.
part. The part that really makes the music.
Oh,
right?
here's how we know. How loud was the hit when Damian
Yeah.
Priest bashed it over his head?
I didn't
The
hear
audio
that.
was pretty silent then, huh?
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. Think
I
about
might have
it.
an
Think
Austin
about it.
hypothetical forming.
Yes, a good
Yeah.
conspiracy here. But no, like that, nobody cared. The ref didn't care when Boogs was knocked out. He's like, whatever, we'll leave him here. Pat McAfee, who loves him, didn't even get up to care for him and tend to him.
Yeah.
So in my mind, if I'm Boogs, maybe I'm going to turn heel because I would feel disrespected after this.
Now you're right because it has to be hard to break a real guitar. I don't know. Now the mystery remains, guys. I don't know. Let us know if you think it was real.
Mari, it is not a mystery. It is not a mystery because if you look, it is a clean break. It was a clean break. See that little guitar piece? It's clean.
Yeah. So you're saying it was just rigged a little bit.
Let me do the circle. I'm circling.
Yeah,
it
I'm looking at the circle.
Oh, I know. I'm just for the people who want.
So what's the mystery? You're saying that it wasn't real?
No, it was very much. It was a kayfabed guitar, but it could have worked as a guitar. It just also had to break as a guitar.
Yeah. The old honky tonk dilemma.
I guess we'll
all right.
Never know.
So yeah, and then so on Monday we got Apollo Crews kind of like challenging. This didn't make sense, but Apollo Crews challenged Damian Priest to a match for the United States. Well, he said that he was gonna beat him up and all this stuff, and so Damian Priest was like, "Well, let's fight right now." And then Apollo was like, "No," and like, so why are you here? But then Sami Zayn comes out, and Sami Zayn will like, well, if he's not gonna accept the challenge, I will. So we got Damian Priest versus Sami Zayn for the U.S. Championship, and again, it was still kind of it's kind of shades of gray with Damian because that's kind of a face thing to do to kind of like defend your championship. But then during the match, at some point, like Damian Priest kind of just like goes into like he like Hulk up mode, and he just like got all crazy and crazy eyed, furious looking, and starts to destroy Sammy. So it's like I don't know if this is a turn or they're about to turn him or they're just trying to make him look more aggressive. But they're really focusing on like his eyes. They're like trying to give him like crazy eyes. So
yeah, did he get did he?
There's mascara. Yeah,
a lot of eyeliner too.
Okay,
Well,
not
Is this a new
contacts.
thing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, like a contact? Is he wearing black contacts?
Is that what's happening?
I don't think so.
He's a no nonsense guy.
Yeah,
he's all business.
Yeah, so they're at least trying to give him a little bit more fire. So we'll watch this as this goes along here.
We'll keep up.
All right. So like I said, such a very great warm up match. That's what you want in your pre-show. So the curtain jerker.
Oh my god!
Is that what we're calling him now?
Term.
Is that what we call him nowadays?
That's what
I don't. Why do people say
them? Was the women's championship match. So the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair went against the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch. In a a match. I mean, it was like a regular match. I mean, it was a match. So the match was pretty good. It was probably, I mean, it wasn't my favorite match of the night, but it was a lot of people's favorite match of the night. And it was a good match. Matt correctly called it. It was one of those matches where it was kind of like, oh, we hate each other so much, we're going to sloppily wrestle. Like, it was like,
I mean, yeah.
We're just trying to maim each other. So we're just slapping. Slap.
As a fan of gratuitous violence, at the very least, I enjoyed the fact that's how they kicked it off. You know, just some slaps, very aggressive. Now, look, whenever you have two people that have wrestled 10, 11 times, maybe even more, you have to switch it up, right? You have to do something a little different. So at the very least, I appreciate, even if it wasn't the greatest match or anything, at the very least, I appreciate the fact they took something different. They stuck to it. Like, all right, this is going to be the violence series. This is going to be the we hate each other part of it. At least it's something different. And so I appreciate a different style when they've matched up together like 10 times already. And
how do you feel that this stacks in their other matches? Like,
I mean, I haven't seen all of them, but I'll say this much: the beginning, I enjoyed the beginning a lot. Like, it's a good way to kick off a show.
Mm-hmm. When I say their other matches, I kind of mean like their Last Woman Standing at Evolution, or like the was it the SummerSlam match that kicked all of this off? Or
I'll say like I don't know. It's hard to tell because like there have been so many different versions of Becky Lynch, especially like Becky. I don't think we've really seen of this version of Becky versus this version of Charlotte, and so to me that stood out. Like I feel like they're more powered up than they've ever been as performers, or at least in terms of how over they are. And so to me, I enjoyed this match, but with its placement on the card, it felt very strange just because it was such a solid match, especially looking at the show in retrospect. Like when I was looking at this match after the fact, it reminded me of a lot like it was SummerSlam 2005, where it was like HBK, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid versus Hulk Hogan. And the reason why it reminded me of that is because I wasn't expecting it to be like Becky or Charlotte over the top selling, like, oh man, like throws a punch and like goes flying back 50 feet and just over dramatic. I wasn't expecting that, but there was a lot of hype going into this one, especially around their relationship with one another. And the fact that, I mean, we might have a more informed opinion of like, oh yeah, they don't really hate each other. Like they're not going to kill each other in the ring. It's fine. But like your casual everyday fan, there's still a lot of hype and drama around that. And so I was kind of excited going into it. I liked watching it, but like watching it back after, because this was one of the few ones I really watched back after, was really fun. And so
probably a better match live than on TV.
Yeah,
since you're waiting for the show, your anticipation is building. You get to see two champions square off immediately, well-known stars, and it may just. I enjoyed it watching it live, and maybe it just translate better that way.
I think from the live perspective, if I had to do anything, I get there was the whole thing about like, is The Rock gonna show up? Like, we don't know. Is he gonna be here? They keep showing a million clips of him, but like this to me would have been a really great match to end the show, especially if they would have built it up more.
I agree.
It was intense.
So the reason why they couldn't is because like, man, like, so it was a good match. Like I will not dispute it, but that ending, man, like that ending, I personally didn't like. But I understood why they did it. It was one of those endings where, and this is why I don't think it could have ended the show, because Becky,
they couldn't have had that finish. They couldn't have had that finish at the end of the show. No,
exactly. So Charlotte, after a really great match, they're pulling out all of their like top hits. You know, they're also adding like, they'll try to look as, you know, realistic as possible and all that great stuff. Like, Charlotte goes for like a rolling pin. She holds the rope. The ref breaks that. Becky then rolls her up, and then she grabs the rope at the last second to take the win. And it just that stopped so abruptly. I mean, I don't know about how you guys felt, but I was watching it. I was like, okay, all right, yeah, 1, 2, yeah, we know one. I was expecting for like, I don't even think they got. I rewatched it on TV, and you know how like for all of the major falls, the audience is like 1, 2, it didn't even get that because none of us thought that was going to be the end there. So, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. So Becky gets the win, but the thing that really kind of just, I was like, and this is why nobody's going to remember this in a year, because Charlotte immediately gets up, has that smile on her face, like, yeah, well, whatever, and like takes her belt, just walks away, kind of like half smiling, half laughing, like it means nothing in the grand scheme of things because they're both still champions. It was very much Hulk getting up after Warrior pins him. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like it doesn't even matter. Like she got up at 3.5 basically. So what is the point? Charlotte took her title, went home, and Becky tried to really make the most of it. And I could not catch this in the live audience because I was so high up, but rewatching it in the show, Becky's like talking like, yeah, I'm the best, just do that Austin style taunting while Charlotte is just ignoring her. Like, it's like, whatever, bye. As Charlotte's walking away and Becky's like, I keep my promises. I told you I'm the best, this and that, and it was like, thank you, Becky, for, keeping it going. But it's just none of this, and this was probably like the moment where I was like, Survivor Series in the grand scheme of thing really means absolutely nothing, since like we said, they don't give any stakes to the elimination matches. There's no stakes for the champions who win. They're still all champions, and that's why half the time I can't even remember what happened at the last show,
Yeah,
so that's the kind of sucky thing. But I did really enjoy the performance.
I think that's half of it, though. Like, I think the stakes thing is half of it, in the sense that if you just have really interesting stories, like it would be a lot more memorable. This year, they did a horrible job in terms of building to SummerSlam, especially because they just had the Crown Jewel pay-per-view like a month ago. So that there was so much focused on Saudi Arabia and like prepping those storylines. Those had like, some of those matches had like 6 weeks of build or almost 2 months of build. I think of Bill Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. But this, they didn't invest as much energy into it, which I think you see when people are like, I don't care. You're both still champions. There's no stakes, to your point. But I think that's the big thing. Like, there have been great Survivor Series moments, but they're not because one person is wrestling the other and wins. It's because there's a story and it means something. But this was kind of like a non-committal. Okay, like Becky kind of beat Charlotte, but clearly it could have gone either way. Like literally, it's the difference in the kayfabe of it all. It's the difference of the ref seeing Charlotte and not seeing Charlotte, and then Charlotte getting the win versus the ref seeing Charlotte and then Becky just doing the same thing. So, but I'd say outside of the finish, this is a fun one. They did a good job. They tried.
They knew what to open with, in a sense, I guess.
They did.
Of the singles matches.
Yeah.
Ari?
After all that violence, I guess you're right. Now that I'm thinking about it, after all that hype about hating each other, it just ends literally within half a second. She's back up smiling.
And then also, how much do you hate each other, but you also coordinate your outfits? So Ari wants to talk about fashion here. It came out that Becky is dressed as the Scarlet Witch from WandaVision, and Charlotte is dressed up as Agatha. It was Agatha all along. So they have coordinating outfits, which is
something friends would do.
I love it. Yeah, exactly. It's like something friends do. Like, I love Easter eggs like that, but I know.
Yeah, you're in the group text
to our match.
What are you wearing tonight?
I mean, who knows? Maybe they have like a little. While we coordinate, like a little problem with each other, but they're like, look, we have to wear the same. We have to match. If anything, we have to look good.
All right, the fashions.
I mean, look, if we're talking fashion, right? We got the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
I was more curious about. So we're looking at Becky Lynch's outfit.
Matt's gonna
I'm
pull
more
it up.
curious. Did they use whatever they cut off from her outfit for Carmella's outfit? It's literally the same exact thing.
I wonder who did the styling on it. When
Red
Becky
latex.
walked
It's
out
in.
in this,
It's in
looks
style, the red latex.
so good. Like, she looks so good in this. And I got her reference right away. I don't remember if I said it, but I was like, oh, like the Scarlet Witch. Of course, I had been drinking, so I don't know why it took me a minute to realize that it was like Agatha as well. But
I never realized it was Agatha until 2 minutes ago. Thank you.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I think the boots gave away the Wanda, definitely. But yeah. So I love their outfits, both of them. Like, Becky looks great. I was like, oh my god, she's not in like yellow and black. Like, wow. So that was awesome.
She's been switching it up late. I think we were talking about this too. Like, she's been
Mm-hmm.
switching it up the last couple of months with some different looks. She's done some stuff with her hair that was like
the ponytail
almost made her head look like a Viking helmet. And I was kind of mad because I'm like, don't do that to your hair. Like, that's Bianca's thing.
Also, going back and rewatching this match, I think this might have been the only match that had Cole, McAfee, and Graves on the call, and it was very good. Like,
they did a great job all night.
They did a great job. Yeah. Michael Cole was doing play-by-play. Corey was bigging up Becky, and then Pat was doing a great job bigging up Charlotte, and it was they all three of them really did work well together. I just like Pat McAfee can do no wrong in my eyes. I'm sorry, like, for real. So
famous last
I just wanted to note that. I think later on, I think that might have been the only time the three of them were on commentary together, but I'm not sure. But it was good. It made the match way better to me. All right. So next up, we have the men's elimination match. So Team Raw had Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley versus Team SmackDown, Drew McIntyre, Xavier Woods, Jeff Hardy, Happy Corbin, and what we found out was Sheamus. So, yes,
I call this battle of the network stars. Every single person in there had a USA shirt or a Fox shirt.
Yeah,
it felt like it was two company titans going like at the company softball game, like duking it out. Like, it was like the USA and the Fox thing. It was so absurd. It really felt like, which channel is going to come out on top?
It was really interesting. Like, I liked how they opened it. Kevin Owens literally walks out the match and gets counted out. So I was like, yep, makes sense for the type of build we've been having. It also saves KO from taking a pin, so I'm not mad at it. So immediately Team Raw is down to 4. And then after that, I could not tell you like a single other moment that I remember. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the only other thing I remember was, well, the crowd loves Jeff Hardy. I mean, we were out there, we were cheering for Jeff, like the Hardy, like the crowd loves Jeff Hardy. Jeff
I don't like. I'm just gonna say for the record, I hate to watch Jeff Hardy wrestle, and it's just because he physically should not be wrestling. And in my when I think about my life, the fact that Jeff Hardy has been in WWE or in pro wrestling like my entire life, but then seeing the stuff that he's done, could you imagine like every day of your life doing that and still somehow being alive? Not me. I would be retired in the backwoods of North Carolina. Is that where they are? Yeah, those Hardy boys. Look at them. I'd be retired. What is Jeff doing? The people love him though in Brooklyn. I think it's a Brooklyn thing.
What do they call him? The charismatic enigma? It makes so much sense. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything, and everyone loves him. And you know what? I can't front. I couldn't help it. I was like, yeah, Jeff Hardy. He's got it. Whatever it is. He doesn't do anything.
I know. It's amazing. It's
amazing.
So impressive. Because I made this comment to you, Mari, that like it's impressive that people love him because WWE does him like literally no favors in how they
Exactly.
book him.
Exactly.
But he has that swanton bomb.
Now,
Yeah.
you,
Which
you
he
said you don't
shouldn't be
remember.
doing.
You don't remember much from the match.
Okay, so I was being facetious. I was being, I was doing.
I know what I
over
remember. The
What
fashion.
is what?
We
Okay,
got-
before we get into, I was about to say before we get into the fashion, I guess I just have to point out that
What?
Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre had like a standoff moment, which again everybody's like, nah, yay. Slight
No one
clap.
cared about that.
Yeah, nobody really cared. And
I
then they got
cared.
counted out. They got
Except for
right. The
Ari.
both of them got counted out, if I remember correctly.
It's too much beef
Yes.
for one ring. You can't have that
Yeah.
much beef in the ring.
Yeah, they were so busy fighting on the outside that they both got counted out, and that was another way that I like that they didn't get pinned. They, it saved all of that. So where are we at with the fashions?
Look at all that beef.
it.
Anyway, talking
like,
fashion. So immediately we're talking to entrances. Seth Rollins stands out. He comes out with with Clifford the Big Red Dog fur on his jacket. We've talked about the Team Fox and Team USA network. So everyone else is just a crony for a network. But I'm obsessed with Xavier Woods. Why is he Prince Woods? Why isn't he a king? What's going on?
You know what? No.
The Titantron said Prince.
It did?
It said Prince.
Are you sure?
Oh, I was very upset. Why is he a prince? He's a king.
He needs
I would have to see that again.
No, he needs to boss up a little bit more. Come on, Xavier.
You can't win King of the Ring and be known as a prince. That's not how this works.
Maybe it's his imposter syndrome, though.
Well, he looks more like a captain in this one.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here, actually.
And Admiral Woods.
What Disney movie is
Admiral.
What Disney movie are Xavier Woods and Jeff Hardy in?
Oh my god!
Wrong answers only.
I mean,
The Little Mermaid.
I see a little bit of Shrek there.
Yeah,
Shrek from Jeff Hardy. What? Oh, Beauty and the Beast, maybe. Beauty and the Beast.
Ah, there it is.
That's
this was great.
There we go.
I need Xavier to stay King Woods. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but right? Did we? No, we did not. Roman smashed the crown, King Woods' crown on SmackDown.
This is rude.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's demoted to Prince.
Yeah, totally just stomped on his crown, broke his throne, all of that before the run up to Survivor Series. So now we got to see what happens. He's still the king of my heart. Kofi still hasn't come back yet either. We need the hand of the king back. So maybe I feel like maybe it just transitions to their like a feud between them and the Usos. Because that's another thing we really have, we haven't really talked about, but like, Becky, we forgot to talk about Becky's promo. Well, we'll talk about it later.
We're good.
Yeah, it's fine.
It'll be. We could fit it in with the other Battle of the Network Stars. The color coordination.
Later.
Now, with this match, I knew immediately Team Raw was going to win because they were wearing red, and the other team, they didn't coordinate. So how could they have team chemistry and win the match if they're not even texting each other on the color coordination? Jeff Hardy wearing green. That's not blue.
I mean, probably were texting.
That was green.
But what if they all were texting and it was just a really busy group text?
Well, Happy Corbin should wear blue instead of beige.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like he had a nice little shirt on there. Like a nice I don't even know what that pattern is, but it kind of looks like up close. It looks a little bit like a chain.
It's not blue. Even Bobby Lashley decided, the Almighty was like, you know what? For the team, I'm going to embarrass myself in full red.
Full red. Xavier Woods did a pretty good job before he was taken out by Lashley applying the Hurt Lock. That was really sad.
Worst crime.
Let's see. Finn eliminated Corbin using a coup de grace. And then Balor was eliminated by Sheamus with a brogue kick after missing the coup de grace. Thanks to Happy Corbin, I think. Didn't Happy Corbin get not Happy Madcap Moss? I don't know. Anyways, it all came down to Seth Rollins and Austin Theory versus Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. And then it came down to just Rollins and Jeff Hardy. And Seth Rollins was the sole survivor for Raw, which was great. His laugh and cackle at the end and the whole visionary thing was amazing. I think. Do we think this was the right call? I think Seth winning was a right call. I think that's what I said. I said Raw men on our preview podcast, so I was right then. But I agree. I thought it was weird, like Jacob's email said, like they gave Raw all of the wins, but I just was like, oh, it's because Raw is the show that nobody watches, so they have to like.
It's because USA pays more money than Fox does on their deal. That's probably it. That's all it is. It's a flex.
Like 50 million versus 55 million. I don't know, but I mean, I've never been someone who I just like wins do matter to an extent, but they also. I think a lot of it's just about how are you making someone look in the process of the win or the loss and like why. So we'll talk about the women's Survivor Series match and how they decided to book that one. But, you know, like Seth is the main eventer in this match. Like there's no world where Jeff Hardy should have won this match. There's no world, like I can't think of anyone else who in this match should have come away with the victory. Seth is like red hot main eventer right now, so that totally made sense. And then I also loved what they did with Austin Theory in the match, not having him eliminated early and giving him these moments to shine, even though it wasn't a ton. It was more than we've seen of him really to this point. So I think that they did a good job with how they booked this. It would have been weird if like Jeff Hardy randomly won and then we didn't hear from him again. For like ever.
I was actually very surprised. I thought Austin Theory was going to be the first person to win.
Yeah. I mean, so that could have happened, but it also would have been weird because they just added him on Monday last week. So, like, again, that would have just been really anticlimactic and disappointing. Like, why are you going to add someone if they're going to be the first one out?
And it would have been like weird for this week since we find out like at the pay-per-view the Vince McMahon's egg goes missing the next night on Raw. He says, whoever
Mari.
What?
You're just skimming over the whole backstory of this. Why does Vince McMahon have an egg?
Oh, because a long
You're like, I don't want to talk
promotion
about this.
of Red Notice. I know, I know. It was a long overdrawn promotion of Red Notice. If you haven't watched Red Notice on Netflix, spoilers.
You don't need to.
Most of it is about The Rock and Guy Gadot, and then Ryan Reynolds trying to find Cleopatra's 3 golden eggs. So at the pay-per-view, why am I explaining this? Vince McMahon had one of the 3 golden eggs. He said The Rock gave it to him. Halfway through the event, it went missing. The funniest thing is he told Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville that if they didn't find the egg, that they would get fired. And I was like, okay. But
no reaction. No one cares. No one's surprised. They're like, oh, well, we were expecting this because everyone else has been fired this year already. So.
The egg went missing at the pay-per-view. The next day on Raw, again, Mr. McMahon said whoever finds it gets a WWE Championship match. And come to find out, Austin Theory, he didn't find it. He was the one who took it. And he takes the egg. Says,
Mari, do you want to explain what happened here with the egg? Or
he takes the egg, and says, "Oh my God, I wanted to take a selfie with it, but then there's all the security, and then I got scared, and I took the egg back to my hotel room. So yes. you stole the egg." And he's like, "I didn't mean to. Oh my God,
I'm very confused."
And
so
then Vince,
was he like? Okay, wait. He took the egg.
Yeah,
he was going to take it. He took it. There was security.
He
took it out of the building.
He said he originally wasn't going to take it. He just wanted to take a selfie with it. But then I guess when he was with it, he was holding it, and then there was security, I guess, looking for it. I don't know. And then he took it out the building. It makes no sense.
I feel like
he's the whole
like
point.
Whoever wrote that's someone who steals. Because
here's a hypothetical for y'all. If you were to steal a golden egg, what would you do?
Austin, I would be in jail. Because they would have thrown me in jail for.
That's a theory. That's a theory I can. Yeah.
If I stole a golden egg, what would I do with it? I would not show up to my job the next day. Like I would go. I mean, you can. This is Brooklyn. They're in Brooklyn, and the thing is, they were on Brooklyn they were in Brooklyn on Sunday night and Monday night, so they weren't going anywhere. So you have
coulda got a head
time to
start.
go out and find someone on the corner who is
I'm dead.
gonna be your hookup to. Heck,
The
you could go
fence.
over to Wall Street and find someone who wants to buy your golden egg on
That
the
is so
spot. There are
funny.
people there who have 100 million cash in their pockets. That's what I would do, and then not work at WWE.
And so of course Austin
or get
Theory
fired.
was given a promotion, I'm sure, for the theft.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what?
That's
He really did
exactly what
get
happened.
screwed.
They said he got the WWE Championship match on Raw because
Yeah.
He steals,
Yeah.
which is
Hey,
rewarding.
no longer do you need to steal the brass ring. Just steal the golden goose egg.
Yeah, there
mean,
it is.
he
Reach
wasn't
for the
okay, but
golden egg.
to be fair, his character when he was in NXT was not the smartest character.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna give him. That he just didn't think everything through. Like, I guess he was afraid of losing his job.
Yeah, he's
Right.
a TikTok
So
star.
He's not. I mean, he doesn't have a lot to lose.
and we said all that to say that's the reason why Austin Theory lasted longer in the match, because he was then getting a WWE Championship match the next night, and he did a
Do you
great
think
job.
that's it? Or do you think
That's
it's
a
a
theory,
mean,
Maury? It's a good
It's a
theory.
I know.
Do you think it's a long-term build?
I don't know. You're the one who like him and think that
Do I?
he should be built. So I just
I
like,
do
I'm
think he
like,
should be
whatever.
built up.
And he had
Actually,
a
to
good
be
match
fair-
with Big E, but he lost.
Yeah, here's what I'd say about Austin Theory. He's not the worst. I just feel like Vince McMahon. I mean, if it's not clear already, Vince McMahon clearly likes something about him to even be in a segment and have this thing going on with him. So I mean, it's just like the muscular, like good-looking, not too small guy. That's Austin Theory. Just like average athletic is what for WWE standards.
You share oxygen with Vince McMahon. You know he likes you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love Austin Theory.
Right. That's very
Big
true.
old that muscle. Oh yeah.
That beef.
That big egg. Something about grapefruits.
Which, by the way, can we talk about the audio? Bad during the segment, the egg segment. If you were watching at the arena live, the audio cut out. It was not good.
Look at
I
that.
I was always at the in the
During
bathroom
Raw.
or something during that.
Oh,
segment.
you're much smarter and strategic viewer than I am.
Yeah, probably.
Look
I would have been more
I just have a
productive
tiny
going
bladder
that route.
when I drink. So
Facts about Mari, tiny bladder.
I
You know
know,
who probably doesn't
tiny
have a tiny bladder. Austin Theory.
All right, so next up, like we said, this was the Rock Battle Royal that also had Pizza Hut in it, and like I don't even have the names of everybody who was in it, but I know the Street Profits were
What?
there. Otis,
You don't remember
was there.
everyone who was in it?
Omis was there. Commander Aziz, I think I'm assuming if Commander Aziz was there, then what's his face?
Oh my god. Okay, wait. Hold on. Mari, can I try
Cesaro.
this?
Oh, poor Cesaro. Yeah.
Apollo. Hold on. Let me make this picture really big.
I just know I was grateful for the bright red and blue
Sabu.
shirts, just to know what brand is winning.
They had a lot of people in here.
Yeah, Ricochet was there.
There was a lot.
He even got a
Ricochet
song.
did a great job. He did
Well,
a
yeah,
good
like
job.
the people who were standouts in this match. You had Apollo, who was in there for a long time. Ricochet was in there. Obviously, Omos was in there. You had other people.
R-Truth. He stole the show. Anytime R-Truth shows up on screen, again, like Rick Boogs, I was happy. I was smiling. He did the bit with Otis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we saw a little bit of the old Otis spark with the charisma and eating the pizza. And then
we love a good
R-Truth hit him up, pat him on the butt, and that was it. And
yeah, he didn't need
Otis
to do
went
that.
back to being mean again, I guess.
Wait, can I just talk about the fact? Well, there's so much to say about this match. The pizza.
Yeah, they're eating pizza.
Ari, let me ask you, as a local, how do you is Pizza Hut your favorite pizza in New York? I don't.
Pizza Hut is not even an option in New York
I
City.
know. That's what I was about to say.
I was literally gonna say, do they have?
It doesn't
a Pizza Hut
enter the
location?
brain as an option.
How
Well,
many
yeah.
Going
pizza
down to
shops
the
do you go through
corner.
before you settle for Pizza Hut, Ari?
The only
You
way you're
don't.
going to Pizza Hut is if you're entertaining 30 people and you need a good deal. Like 3
That's a
pizza
great
boxes
point.
stacked on
Like
top
a
of each
triple
other.
threat.
Wait, Ari,
If you
what's
don't,
like?
if you don't, if
Yeah.
you don't love the people you're entertaining, you're buying Pizza Hut.
What's your ad? Like, what's the ad? Like, what's the pitch to New Yorkers to eat Pizza Hut? Because
To
they had Pizza Hut thrown at them.
Oh my
the pitch is throw Pizza Hut into the crowd for free, and we'll indulge.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I
What
want to
eating
find
the
out
pizza?
if Alicia is listening. Did you get any
Oh,
pie?
yeah.
You were sitting.
Yeah, Alicia.
There
Let
was
us
so
know.
Let us know. Yeah.
I didn't get any pie. Too high up for the pie. They may be big
Right,
and strong
same.
wrestlers, but they can't reach the binocular section.
I was very disappointed
Yeah.
by that. I will
I
say
wanted
too that
So-
they had.
You know what, Mari? I wanted some pizza. I would have
They had
eaten
way
that.
too much
I would have eaten
pizza.
that pizza.
Too much pizza. It was a mess.
Yeah, they did.
Like,
And they were just
no one ate it.
just flinging it. So I asked Matt, I was like, Matt, would you, if you got pizza slung at you, would you eat the pizza?
Yes.
No. No.
Yes.
I wouldn't eat it. I know.
I would.
No, I know exactly what I would do. I would take it. I would bag it up. I would have a little plastic bag, and I would freeze it.
If there wasn't a virus going on, maybe it'd take a bite.
Maybe.
Yeah, but the Street Profits held that pizza.
Look, I don't know. I don't look. They did, but
its value automatically increases.
Yeah, this is Brooklyn, and people were way too excited, and this match should have been booed out of the building just for the pizza. And I'm hurt talking about it, and I'm so sorry to everyone.
Instead, we got chants for "We Want Pizza." See, the fans were chanting "We Want Pizza," and
they want real pizza.
They weren't chanting for Pizza Hut pizza. We wanted your Joe's Pizzeria, your local shop.
Yeah, Joe. Who else?
We had pizza chants.
Dan? No, not Dan. Johnny. Oh, you gotta love a good
Johnny's Pizza. Great.
That's what it's all about. That's what we want. I mean, and like, frankly, I don't know. I think, like, just with this match, there's look, we've talked probably too much about the pizza.
Yeah.
I will say though, Ari, we had Otis throwing out R-Truth. We had all sorts of other action. Was there anything else from this, especially thinking of the outfits that stood out to you?
The only fashion is everyone's wearing red, blue. Battle of the Network Stars Part 2. Raw wins again. USA, they pay their money. They're good to go. And other than that, I like a big guy tossing everyone out of the ring. I'm a sucker for it. And that's what this was. And we can move on.
So yeah, Omis ended up winning this the Rock Battle Royal. I don't know, the tribute to the Rock Battle Royal, which is great. I think this is good. It seems like they're really pushing him. Maybe they'll push him as a singles star now, ? But it made sense. He dominated most of the match, so I was okay with it. And it was serviceable. Again, I did not think it should have went here. Like, this is, like Matt said, the pre-show would have been perfect, but if it had to be on the card, I don't know why they put it here. I was definitely expecting the tag match here after the men's. I thought it was going to go tag match, men's elimination, tag match, women's elimination, then this, then the main event. So
this would have been much better before the main event.
Yeah, it would have made much more sense.
Yeah.
The silliness would have been better. Like, I don't.
Yeah, but you know what? Nobody wants a Pizza Hut match on the card. And that's what it is for me, because I don't have a problem with Omos winning. I don't have a problem even with how the match was booked for the most part. Like, it didn't go on for too long. It was pretty inoffensive, I'd say. But like, I can't get over the Pizza Hut in Brooklyn thing. But I think that's actually like a good example of WWE not booking for the live crowd. Like, we've talked a lot about the crowd in this show. They didn't book the show for the live crowd. This isn't about the people in Brooklyn or in New York or in the Northeast even. This is about the global audience. And so they're not probably going to get like any of us to order Pizza Hut when we're in New York. Who knows? I mean, maybe if it's right down the street. I don't know.
Earlier, it was brought up that people were having rumors that The Rock was gonna show up because it's the Rock Battle Royal. I'm like, guys, it's a business deal. Like this Pizza Hut stuff is.
Well, that's the funny. Sorry, keep going. I'm sorry.
No, they're paying good. They're paying money for Amos to toss people over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that was the funny thing. I did not know the Pizza Hut was tied to this until it started happening. The only thing silly. I knew tied to it was The Rock. So when we saw them, we saw them bringing out tables in the arena, and we were like, "What is going on?" Because did they say it in there? Again, this is one of the points I went to the bathroom, so I really don't know if they did they say in the arena that it was a Pizza Hut match? All I saw was when I came back, there was tables and pizza on it, and I was like, "What is going on?"
It was clearly a Pizza Hut match.
Yeah,
they probably said something. It was clear that it was a Pizza
Battle
Hut
Royal, sponsored by the Red Letter. It's brought to you in part by Pizza Hut.
When you watch the broadcast, but I'm saying like for us, we were just like, what are these tables?
No, I mean, you know what? They probably didn't mention it because it would have gotten some level of booze, I'd imagine.
I know they didn't mention it because when I saw it was Pizza Hut, I said, "Oh, it's Pizza Hut."
Instead of like already knowing. Yeah. So
I thought it was pie at first.
So after this, we had the tag team match. We had RK Bro, who are the Raw Tag Team Champions, versus the Usos, who are the SmackDown Champions. And I mean, of course, Randy Orton.
This was the most boring match ever.
Yeah, for me, like
I just had to get that off my heart.
Speaking of the fans, they definitely came through with this one. You might enjoy what they said. Randy sleeping.
Yes, that was funny. Yes, at one point in the match, Randy Orton was sent to the outside, and it was just Riddle and one of the Usos, which was, of course, the part that none of us cared about, and because the crowd just kept chanting RKO, they wanted Randy, and then so at one point they started chanting Randy sleeping, and it was so funny because Randy gets up from the corner, he kind of like weakly throws up like a thumbs up, and then the crowd went crazy. It was so funny. That was hilarious.
This was also his I think his record-breaking pay-per-view appearance.
I think so.
So he's had more pay-per-view appearances than anyone else in WWE history. And then he's also they talked about how he's had more appearances on Raw or more matches on Raw than anyone else, but it turns out that maybe he's like 4 matches short of it or something like that. But he's very close to also breaking that record. So
easy to break a pay-per-view record when there's more than there's ever been.
Yeah,
that's true.
Look at that, Randy Orton. We're proud of you, Randy. Good for you.
So no build. We talked about this. There's no build going into this match except for a few segments the Monday prior. So nobody cared. On a scale of 1 to 10, how forgettable was this match, Ari?
I mean, I was entertained, but I didn't understand what the beef was. I don't even understand why RK Bro are together. How'd that friendship form? Like underneath the bleachers? Why is the creepy gym coach hanging out with his student on his scooter? I don't understand the dynamic.
Which one's the creepy gym coach? Because like,
I think it's the one with the mustache. Fashion.
Fashion.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot to be said there, and I mean, probably more to say about this match, but you mentioned the mustache, and
look, I mean, Becky Lynch and Charlotte, they're reinventing themselves with different style matches, and Randy Orton, he's like, I'm going to reinvent myself too. I'm going to grow
this
mustache.
is Matt has a great picture
from
here.
Raw. Speaking of reinvention, we saw that Riddle reinvented himself, and he got the goatee. He got the little mustache. He grew it overnight. He got the little Randy hoodie, which isn't for sale. He got the little trunks. I like it. I'm glad. And he's still wearing his little flip-flops. His little barefoot, which is probably unsafe, but
Yeah,
it's
on
his
Raw,
choice.
Randy has been telling Matt he needs to be like acting like a champion. He needs to
I was
act
like,
more
me?
like him. No, sorry. He's been telling Riddle that he needs to act more like a champion. He needs to act more like him. So Riddle decided to come to the ring dressed like Randy Orton with full
It's cosplaying.
mustache and so I don't know if this is signaling like RK Bro is about to be over soon. But
No. Keep them together forever. This is all I needed for them to be. Ari, night and day. Comparing like them on Sunday night with them on Monday night, wouldn't you agree, just to like really put the leading question there, wouldn't you agree that they looked better together on Monday night?
I mean, when I was sitting in the arena, my entire feedback on Riddle is exactly what Randy Orton said. Like, come on, bro, take it more serious. You can't be a champion if you're not mean.
yeah.
So you know what? I'm glad he's listened to some advice, and then we'll see some big things from Riddle. Maybe I can take him more serious now.
And then yeah, I don't know. I it's whatever. So
he's annoying.
yeah. So it's
again,
like we'll see kind of where the story goes. They're gonna feud at some point.
Yeah, I hope it ends with
like
an arcade.
I'm tired of them. Yeah. I'm just tired of them like doing it, like shotgunning these things. Like we just saw, we'll get to it obviously, but we just saw the women's championships change on Raw, which we'll talk about a little bit. We'll talk about the women's match, I'm sure. But it's just like, give us some time, let things simmer, let people actually care. Rather than changing it. So I'm like, I go from like hating Riddle and not really loving Orton to just being like, preserve a storyline for a little bit.
Yeah, and like we said, they won. They actually beat the Usos, so the Usos lost. And so they'll have to deal with that, I guess, on SmackDown. But they did give the people what they want. Jay, I don't know which one it was. Was doing maybe if Matt pulls up a picture, I could tell by their hair. But like they were doing a frog splash and they're about to hit Riddle with the frog splash, and then Randy Orton came out of nowhere and hit the RKO on top of like Riddle still took that frog splash. But it was a pretty cool sight. Nope, can't tell. It was a pretty cool sight to see and a nice RKO to send the crowd home. Happy.
I like the ending. I thought I cool. Felt it was telegraphed, the ending. I thought I knew that what was going to happen, but to see it live and see it performed was cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is like, it's always interesting to me with this crowd. Like we got the love for Jeff Hardy, we got the love for Randy Orton. You mentioned Mari earlier, some CM Punk love. Like it's always really interesting to me that the people that people chant for, like none of those. I mean, Randy Orton is constantly being built along the way, but to me, when I was like thinking about just the crowd reaction throughout the night, this is definitely a crowd that, like this probably isn't their favorite time in WWE. There are lots of crowds that love WWE right now, I'm sure, but like they were looking back a lot, and I don't think that WWE did any favors to the current product by like promoting The Rock and promoting how great things used to be, and
right.
But the fact that they were supporting Randy is just a reminder, like, okay, this is what the Brooklyn people want. They want the Viper, they want the Legend Killer, they want Randy Orton, even though he looks kind of like a snake and it's really creepy. The Army Hammer of WWE, some would say.
So next up we have the women's elimination match. We talked about this a little bit more in our opening, but let's get into it. We had Team Raw, which was Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Zelina Vega versus Team SmackDown, which was Sasha Banks, Shotzi Blackheart, which did they drop the Blackheart, I guess? Now it's just Shotzi.
Yeah.
Oh God. Shayna Baszler.
Just doesn't fit on Twitter. Too many characters.
Natalia and Toni Storm. They love to snatch a surname from somebody. So again, the crowd reaction sucked, but that's why I said I really liked the match. One of the things that stood out to me was Carmella had new music, which was kind of cool, very interesting, even though they still don't know what her gimmick is. Well, okay,
That she's
wait.
lucky.
Right. I was about to say her gimmick
No.
is that she's the most beautiful woman in the WWE.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Uh,
And
yeah.
and that she takes the leftover parts from Becky Lynch's outfit. Is that her part of a story
Yes,
too?
exactly.
The
Yeah.
leftovers.
I
The
really hope
leftovers.
that's not true. Like true.
Look, the sleeves. Becky Lynch didn't have
No, I
sleeves.
see it.
Carmella has sleeves. Becky Lynch didn't
I
have
see it.
long stockings.
That's true. That you think that she got the leftovers.
Hey,
though, not
look,
the other
everyone's
way
talking
around.
WWE. They're trying to save money. It's very apparent with
Budget cut.
with the wardrobe.
Budget cuts. Oh no.
That's so
And then
sad.
we have Queen Zelina there. This is a great picture if you're watching us on YouTube. Queen Zelina just doing the queen wave with her accent. It's just so great.
She's from Queens.
Yeah. So and then we started out, so this match started out, I'm trying to remember. It was, bring up the pictures, Matt. I think it was
Who started?
Bianca. Yeah. Who started the match?
No, it was
Wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't know who started the match.
Who started the match?
No, who knows who started the match? If you're listening and you know who's starting the match, let us know.
Wasn't it
No, I
Tony
don't think-
Storm?
was
Tony
it
Storm
Tony
was
and-
arguing. She was very
Zelina?
passionate.
Tony and Zelina? Oh,
Zelina
no,
took
guys,
a while to get in.
Remember Carmella? Carmella tried to start the match, but then she said timeout. Remember? It was
Tony Storm and Carmella.
Yeah, and Carmella said timeout. She tried to go put her mask on. We have no idea why her mask wasn't on, but when she came back into the ring holding the mask, Tony Storm was able to eliminate her. So yeah, Carmella was instantly eliminated, which started the which started the match like that. I think at one point, I'm not about to go match by match, beat by beat, but this was when I was really trying to figure out, being in the crowd and watching it on the show. It thank God on the show it doesn't come off as bad, because like we said, the camera guys were doing a pretty good job of getting different angles when the wave finally got down. I had to keep looking to the corner of the screen to see, like, when did the wave start? So the wave started like during Shayna and Rhea's interaction, and we had already gone through, like, Liv Morgan had already come in and had faced did some stuff with Shayna. Oh, did some stuff with Natalya. Natalya was in there for a very long time. But yeah, during Shayna and Rhea, that's when the wave really began and really started. And it looked like they were losing the crowd until they tagged in Sasha Banks, they tagged in Bianca Belair, and not only did they did that, but we noticed in the arena that all of the women got down off the apron. And I think, Matt, you turned and asked me, why do you think they did that? But it was Bianca and Sasha squaring up. All the women got down off the apron to kind of give it like a one-on-one style feel. And Bianca and Sasha immediately got the crowd back into it. Like, It was immediately a "Let's go Sasha EST, let's go Sasha EST." They had their little square off. It was so amazing. Bianca got her taunts in there, and it was so good. They literally touched each other for all of like 3 minutes, if that, but they immediately got the crowd back into the match. And Bianca and Sasha just really do have really good chemistry together. So sucks that we probably won't see them again for a while, because they're on separate brands. But yeah, it was pretty cool. That's what started the momentum shifting. Eventually Tony Storm got Zelina Vega out as well. Tony Storm got 2 people out before she was then eliminated. So, and the reason why we're pointing this out is because Tony Storm is supposed to be the next person going for Charlotte's belt. Charlotte said she had to prove herself. So she did get 2 eliminations, but she was like the first person eliminated off of her team. So I don't know how that kind of evens out or whatnot. But eventually it came down to just Bianca, Liv, and Rhea, and then Liv is out. Sasha and Shotzi they take Liv out. Rhea is taken out by Shayna, if I remember correctly, and then now it's just Bianca versus 4 other girls. Before we get into the ending, Ari, how did you feel when it came down to Bianca versus Sasha, Natty, Shayna, and Shotzi?
I think the big thing that stands out is you were talking about like the crowd. All right, so we didn't like what the crowd did, but the crowd was back when it was Sasha and Bianca, and then as soon as they tag out, as soon as they're no longer the main attraction, the crowd is back at it.
Yeah, and that's when at the CM Punk chant I think came after that.
So I have a question. Do you think that's more of a thing on Sasha and Bianca being compelling? Or does it have more to do with the fact that they don't promote Queen, Natalya or Shayna Baszler? Because I like those two.
Yeah, I'm a huge Shayna fan personally. So I think that was rough. And then again, I've been talking about how Rhea's been getting shafted for the past 4 months.
Shocked she lost the title so soon. I was like, wait, why isn't she champion? That made no sense to me.
Exactly. So Matt seems like he has something he wants to say.
No, I mean, I think like to your question, Ari, that like and Mari, you give credit to the performers so much, but like they're not booked in an interesting or compelling way. Like the only people in this match who have had, there are probably a couple of other, but the only people in this match who had a storyline that like was interesting people were Sasha and Bianca this year.
And if I'm going through it,
like Shayna
to a small extent,
barely, because like here's the thing, Shayna in the match, her feud was really with Naomi. Naomi's not in the match. You have Zelina who's there, who's just starting to like pick up with her queen gimmick. You have Carmella, never booked to be like strong and like a hot character, so to speak, right? And then Natty, people are
professional.
People don't give her the respect that she deserves. And so I think I didn't like the booking of it. I'll also say that I don't know, like when we were talking about this beforehand, I was really thinking about it like, okay, like how's Bianca going to get taken out of this match? Like she's going to be taken out early. I liked the fact that she won in the moment, but in retrospect, I'm thinking like, where are they going with this? Is she in the championship picture again? Or
no, she's not.
No.
And so I have two minds, because I agree, because I really thought Liv Morgan should have, like, if you're building Liv for Becky, then you needed for Liv to kind of probably be that sole survivor there. But remember I told you, that's what I said on the previous podcast, like Bianca should have won last year. Last year she got all the way to the same kind of area. She was the last person on her team, but she then lost. And so this was kind of like the carryover. It told the continuous story of now she's the last person on her team. It is a numbers game. She did a great, oh my God, she did such a great job selling for all 4 of those people. And then just the one spot where she's counting and she's like, how many people do I have left, was just amazing. So they gave her the win here, but she's not going to be in the title picture right now. On Raw, she actually had a match with Natalya. Tamina, sorry. Thank you. Tamina for a second week in a row. And then Doudrop came out, and they're furthering her storytelling with Doudrop. So what they're doing with Bianca is they're doing what we've kind of asked them to always do. It's to build somebody up. And so this is where that if the women had like an intercontinental belt, she would have it on her. You know what I'm saying? Because that secondary storyline is going to revolve around Bianca, as it should, because as of right now, Becky is the untouchable champion who is just about to start, I'm assuming, running through jabronis. So you need that secondary worker who is going to try and move storylines. And that's what Bianca is doing. That's what they're going to have her do, which is a good look for her, because that means she is going to forever be on our TV. Now, does this, with your speculation, Matt, are we talking about maybe Bianca, Becky at Mania?
I mean, I don't
know.
but that's the thing, like, forgetting about that long-term booking, I just kind of feel like the two people who I would have loved to see in the end of this match are Toni Storm and Liv Morgan, because you're trying to build them up as serious contenders.
Exactly.
Bianca Belair does not need that. Bianca Belair could have
doesn't.
been screwed out of she could have been the first one out. They could have done some kind of shenanigans to her. But it's like, like, Bianca doesn't need it. Bianca's like EST level. Like, if you are even looking, that's the thing. Like, looking at this match, and even just looking at her standing there and celebrating, like, there are people holding up their EST signs. She's good. But you know who needs it? Like, Liv Morgan still needs to kind of get over that hump of being like really respected and truly beloved by the crowd, even by Brooklyn crowds. And then Toni Storm has barely even gotten started. So
yeah,
I think like the Bianca stuff is all solid. I just I worry that we're gonna see a repeat of the Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH stuff, where it's kind of like these stars who could be built in the moment, but then don't get over because like the booking's not strong enough to get them over as like these topper tier
upper mid card. I mean,
yeah, like
card,
or like going up at least from wherever they are is what I'm trying to say.
So, are you afraid that Liv and Toni are going to get the Rhea, Nikki ASH treatment? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Because Bianca's in a different stratosphere. She just really is already up there.
Bianca's great,
but they're not.
If they got rid of Bianca during that match, right? Like Matt, you were saying if they got DQ'd, she got out of the match to give some love to some other people.
Yeah,
how dead would that crowd have been then?
Right. Very true.
I think that's the thing. That's the problem with the booking. It's like, do you book to today or do you book to build stars so that people actually care? And I think like, the crowd would have been really dead at that match. But that's again the effect of like, you have to start building people somewhere.
Exactly.
And they're not really doing the women favors.
Yeah, and let's be real, they're not about to book Toni Storm and Liv to be strong because, guys,
they should.
They're not taking they should, but they're not taking the belts off of Charlotte and Becky, unfortunately, and it's not even believable at this point. They're like, we're not even going to insult your intelligence, kind of, which is messed up. I'm not saying it's good; it's messed up. They should have been doing this with Liv, like what they're doing with Bianca. They should have been doing with Liv when Bianca was fighting with Becky. Like, that's what should have been happening.
But I think like the other thing too is that the title doesn't need to change hands for you to make a star. Like that's
very true.
You could make someone really compelling and like a really interesting underdog without that switch and like through the storyline. So I just want better booking for them, because like all of my most of my wrestling fandom, similar to you, Mari, like I've been like most of probably half of the indie shows I went to when I was growing up in Jersey were like for women superstars unleashed, or they changed their name a few times, but it was like Mercedes Martinez and like some of these other big stars and like AJ Lee, who went on to WWE, and some others. It's like, just give them really good booking and they could be main eventers, and they've been in better positions than they are now. So whatever. I'm happy for Bianca though. I have a good video of her winning, so that's all that counts, right?
Right. And we do need to point out that it did come down to 4 versus Bianca, but then Sasha, like I said, I loved rewatching it because throughout the match, Sasha and Shotzi were literally exchanging blows throughout the match. The way that Sasha actually ended up going out was that they went to tag, I think it was Natalya. Shotzi tagged Natalya to come into the match. Then Sasha immediately tagged Natalya. No. Sasha tagged Natalya to come into the match. Then Shotzi tagged Natalya to come into the match. So they're both in the match about to beat up on Bianca Belair. And Shotzi is like, I'm legal, and telling Sasha to get out the match. But Shotzi was not legal. And so they start fighting to the outside. And then that's when Sasha tries to get into the ring. Shotzi pulls her back. Sasha goes to hit Shotzi. She accidentally hits Shayna too. So then Shayna drags Sasha back into the mat, back out. Sasha goes back in. Natty drags Sasha out for some reason, and Sasha turned around, clocks Natty, is like, Natty, what are you doing? And then gets back, tries to get back into the ring, which was so funny. It was again, none of this stuff we could really see, like none of the words we could see from our seats. It was just we saw them continuously pulling her out. A lot of people were like, that should have counted. She was under the ropes, you know. It's whatever. We know that the refs have very loose rules, so it's whatever. The ref said she didn't get back in the ring, so she didn't get back in the ring. So I thought this was very clever. It was very clever. Sasha gets counted out because of her team. The crowd immediately booed, like Ari said. Us Brooklyn, we're in Brooklyn. We were mad when Sasha left. And then the three of them try to attack Bianca. Now, does this make Shayna, Natalya, and Shotzi look like goobers? A little bit. But the biggest thing is I can't wait to turn on SmackDown and hear Sasha talking all the noise she's finna talk about how they lost because she wasn't there. So, I mean, I feel like it pushes something forward, and I think it did a really good job of solidifying Sasha as like the top babyface on SmackDown as well. So yeah, that was my little soapbox. Anybody care about that Sasha part?
It was
You didn't like it?
Not
Matt didn't like
advised.
it?
Not advised. Well, no, from like the logic, the goober perspective, that's it. You know,
Yeah.
like you said, it's just like, what are you doing?
But
Why
Shayna
are you so
Baszler
mad?
look like a
They pulled
goober. Like they're always making her look like a goober.
They pulled a Sasha on Sasha. So it's kind of funny to have it happen for Sasha as opposed to against Sasha. Because, you know, Sasha is notorious for turning on whatever teammate she has a little bit too early and then losing. You know, that is like, that's been a running joke. Even Corey Graves said that, like, Sasha is better as a solo artist and all that. So it's kind of funny that they kind of did the Sasha on Sasha. So I liked it.
Yeah,
and we'll
I am surprised that she didn't like do violence to them after, you know? Like,
yeah,
Sasha,
she was
get
throughout
'em.
the match. She was like hitting them, like Shotzi. I think
Yeah.
Shotzi pulled her off at one point. Like they were literally
Visually
fighting that
aggressive.
whole freaking
Yes.
match. So
Yes.
And then we gotta just kind of quickly touch on Becky did a really good promo on Raw where she went off on the WWE universe, which still we're still telling us Becky is a heel. And I sometimes I hate when the heels get cheap heat from going off the audience, but this was like perfect the way she did it. She talked about how Brooklyn, she said she used to care about what they thought, but she doesn't now. And she said, especially since last night, you guys talk about how you want me to give more opportunities to women, and yet 10 women were busting their butts in the ring and you completely booed them. You did your chance, you did your wave. So that means, so you're trying to say that none of them deserve it. And then I was like, thank you, Becky, right on. And then she's like, and I agree, none of them deserve my title. It was perfect. She had us all in her hand. It made sense with the character. It was so logical. Ari, you like this, right?
You know what I'm a fan of? I like to watch greatness, and anytime Becky Lynch is on screen, it's greatness. She swerved me. I've been watching wrestling for decades at this point, and to listen in, and she's got me, and I'm listening. I'm like, okay, and then she swerves me. We're watching brilliance. We're watching we are watching an artist.
Very good.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
And all of it had some truth to it, and it didn't feel like your typical I don't like you anymore, I'm a heel, I don't need the audience. Like it just
it's organic,
so much better. Yes, exactly. And you could tell she really meant what she said. She's like, I am so pissed that you guys did that yesterday.
Yeah,
so that was really good.
And then, it cements her.
It does, and it cements her heel turn. She did have like a little backstage promo with Liv Morgan afterwards, which I wasn't as good to me because it was just kind of like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Stop punching yourself type kind of bully promo. But then we had the women's tag team. So just real quickly, Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH went against Zelina and Carmella, and This has been brewing up because ever since the teams were announced, Zelina and Carmella have been like kind of picking on Nikki ASH, and then Rhea was like standing up for her teammate. So I guess this is why they got a women's tag team championship match. However, I wasn't expecting that. Zelina and Carmella won. So Zelina and Carmella are your new women's tag team champions. They took them off of Rhea and Nikki, and I just have no idea where this is gonna go. So Matt, I know you had a couple of feelings about this.
No, I just think that they should have built it more. Like
Yeah.
we've talked about this before. No one wants to hear me say that again. But I think when I saw the match happening, I kind of was just like, yeah, I think the titles are going to switch here because who was on the Survivor Series team? Who were they? Who have they given more screen time to? And like, so to me, it seems clear that they're big fans of Zelina because she's the queen now,
right?
But also Zelina and Carmella. So I like this, and I like them as a team. It's like a fun little dynamic.
I just really need them to like. It's just so annoying that since Sasha and Bailey, the titles haven't traveled, so it's just very, very annoying that that's not happening anymore. And I don't understand why they didn't let Nikki and Rhea move brands, but then again, there's no women's tag division. There's no people for them to really go up against. So yeah, this, especially now with all the cuts. Oh my gosh, this is
Natty and Tamina kind of had they bounced across brands a little, or Shayna and Nia did. Shayna and Nia definitely.
Yeah, Shayna, yeah.
Because I think they had a match with. I know they had a match with the NXT people, but yeah, they kind of have drifted away from that. Yeah, back when right around the time that the women's championships in NXT were created back in March. Yeah. It was like that next week that they defended their championships. I think probably against Dakota and Raquel, or against Ember and Shotzi. I can't remember.
That sounds slightly familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe it was Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter.
Let's move on to our final match of the night. My favorite match of the night. The Universal Champion Roman Reigns went against the WWE Champion Big E. And I just really like this match. And like watching it in person, like Roman and Big E are my top two favorite men. Yeah, like in the company. So watching them go at it. And again, I love when Roman Reigns. It's weird because it was like a Hoss match because Roman Reigns is playing big man here. Yeah. But Big E is also big, so it was just like it was such a good match. For me, how many Big E ate? What was it? 3 Superman punches, I think it was. Before the ending.
I don't remember. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
You need Big Boy needs to eat a lot.
Yeah. And the crowd was into it. They were very hype. It was back and forth.
You know what it was? You know what I like about this? It's similar to like boxing or UFC. Whenever there's like a really big match, you just kind of look forward to just seeing two, like you said, big hosses just going at it. And that's the feel this got for me, right? Like before the match is starting, it's like, all right, here we go. Just like the two biggest, baddest, strongest going at it. And it was good. It was fine. But I enjoyed more like the build up,
the build up was so good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that the most.
Yeah,
and like over the course of the match.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that's why I said on the RHAPgrams, if you guys caught it on the RHAPgrams, and like last week, I thought this had so much really good build to it with the Usos and the New Day and the the Bloodline with Big E, and then on Friday, Big E showed up on SmackDown to have a confrontation with Roman. It was just so good. It had enough story. It had a really good layout and all of that. Matt, what did you think?
Yeah, there was nothing to add to that other than it was just good that I think they got to a great place with it by SmackDown by the end of the storyline, because they hadn't really there'd been like all these different parts between the Usos and the RK Bro match, barely having a build, but kind of having a little bit of a build where they interacted last week. And but that also crossed over with the Big E storyline on Raw, but Roman wasn't there. And so
And then
it was
he
just
came to
kind of, it felt a
SmackDown.
little bit, it felt a little bit sloppy with like the way that certain, like they didn't really have like the 3-on-3, here's the New Day with Big E and Kofi and Xavier, and then here's the Bloodline with Roman and the Usos going head to head in the build, which would have been kind of interesting.
So much better.
Yeah, but they didn't also, I think they got to a solid place. Like because this was like we couldn't have really predicted that they were going to build it like this, especially because they just like not randomly, but like King Xavier won the King of the Ring, and so that becomes a factor in the storyline. And I liked how they used that and incorporated that in the story.
Yeah, so great. I no shenanigans, so we were completely wrong. We thought there was going to be at least a little bit of shenanigans. Absolutely no shenanigans. No Usos,
I thought so too.
No New Day, especially no Rock.
Not even anything from Paul Heyman.
Not a Rock. You said not anything from what, Matt?
Paul Heyman.
Oh yeah, like nothing. So which is why like I really kind of wish Big E won here. I wish there was shenanigans and Big E won, because I mean that way Roman could take a loss that doesn't mean much, and that maybe he could even use it as like, oh, he took one pin, now he's even more pissed off, type of thing. But it worked out. I think they made Big E look really strong again, eating so many Superman punches and all that stuff, and it was a great match. They had really good chemistry, so I'm not mad at it. And again, it doesn't matter. Sorry, no, that's it.
One of my favorite things about Big E, I remember reading his bio and his Wikipedia, and it says like Big E is a former college football player who went into weightlifting, and then I'm like, why? I didn't need to read a Wikipedia page for that. Like, obviously, that's what he does. Like,
really.
That's just obvious. That you can assume.
Yeah, he's like a powerlifting champion or something like that.
Very clear. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, this was nice. And I think the again, I just think back to the thing with The Rock. Weird. Like, if you're not gonna have someone on the show,
why celebrate
today,
them
tomorrow, not the next day, maybe not even the next month, maybe not even the next year.
Yep.
Don't point out. I mean, you're just highlighting the fact that they're not there by pointing them out.
No, he was there. We showed you in the Red Notice promo. He was right there with Ryan Reynolds the whole night.
In the promo. He could have done a video message. It could have been so many things.
Yeah.
WWE really struggles with this. Like, why do they, Mari, we were at WWE shop. Like, why do they have this Bruno Sammartino shirt right now?
Yeah.
Why do they have a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt?
How much is the Bruno Sammartino shirt? How much is that shirt?
Too much.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Bruno Sammartino. May he do good things in his legacy, but
that's my grandfather's favorite wrestler.
Yeah, I'm many people, but it just like invest that time and energy. I have a picture on my phone of a Bruno Sammartino statue that was in the arena, like bronzed, and
it looked naked. It looks
oh yeah, it did look naked.
It looked.
I wish you hadn't said that. I wish you hadn't said that, because I was about to say, like, what if that had been Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair? That's literally. But
do y'all see even on the picture at the bottom it says presented by Red Notice?
Look, I yes.
That is so funny. But yeah, so this is, I mean, overall, I think it was a solid card. So let's give some grades for all of Survivor Series real quick before we wrap it up. Ari, what did you think of Survivor Series as a whole?
In terms of fashion, I'll leave it with this one. My last fashion note for Roman Reigns. What do we think of the lay?
Oh yeah, I did like it. I mean, it's to signify that he is the head of the table. Yeah, he is. He came out with. I noticed that too. I was like, oh, okay. I was trying to think to myself, does he normally come out with the lay on? But I could not remember. But
so my grade for Survivor Series. I'll put it this way: I would never hang this up on the fridge. I'm not proud to display this. Mm-hmm. I took the test. I got a C. I didn't study that hard, but you know what? I'm proud of myself. Because no one knows my struggle or my challenges. It's a C-.
Though.
Wow. That's not bad. Matt, what do you think?
I'm just processing what Ari just said.
What, you're not hanging this on your fridge?
I mean, I'm
You would
glad
hang it
you're
on your
proud of
fridge.
yourself.
You are
I'm
proud of
glad
this
you're
one.
proud of. I'm glad you're proud of yourself. That's what it's about. In that, that's deep. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that and just process those deep emotions there. This was a good. This was a show. This was a show. I would, you know what they did it in my mind. They did a really bad job building toward Survivor Series.
Yeah.
They didn't
And
study.
they also did. I think they also didn't do a great job of setting up a lot of things that are going to be meaningful coming out of the show with what they did in the show. So, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Charlotte and Becky, the match itself, set up anything that we would see. Are we going to see Priest and, well, that's the thing with a lot of the cross brand stuff. You don't it's hard to like kick off storylines necessarily. But even then, like, is Damian Priest a heel? Not sure.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like some of the loose ends are hanging that they could have tightened up. But it was like a good show to watch live and like just to kind of see everything unfold. And there were a lot of great moments, but not the best Survivor Series. Probably in my bottom Survivor Series rankings, to be honest, if I had to call it.
Well, can you give us a grade?
Though. What?
Give us a grade.
On A's, like on letters? Grade?
Yes.
C-.
Yeah, I think we're C- across the board.
I mean, you could give it a D, but
across the board. Yeah. For everything the both of you guys said, poor builds, like, you know, the matches were good. They were serviceable. There was only one that I probably would not. Well, I don't rewatch matches like that, but the battle royal, there's two. So the battle royal and the tag team match I would never watch again. But I've already rewatched the other one, so yeah, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, but it definitely wasn't that. It wasn't nearly close. Not even nowhere close to one of their best pay-per-views of the year, especially, which is really weird because, like Matt correctly pointed out earlier, Crown Jewel, wow, that was such a good pay-per-view for it to happen when it happened and where it happened. So yeah, C-. It was adequate. It was adequate. All right, so it's time to wrap it up. Ari, thank you so much again for coming back, talking to us, going to this event with us, hanging out with us. We so appreciate you.
Next time we have an event, obviously we'll do another run-in. I mean, look, we're talking about the show. I feel the best way to sum it up is anytime you can go to a wrestling show live with your friends.
Yes,
that is the ideal way to enjoy this stuff. So
exactly.
So I think that's my biggest takeaway from it. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, even despite my C-. Maybe I have a low bar to begin with.
Yeah, being there in person really helps. Yeah.
It changes how you enjoy the show, and I would use this as a time to, if you've ever considered going to a show, just go for it. It doesn't have to be WWE. It's a lot of fun to go live. I've had the luxury of sitting ringside, and you were talking about affecting the show. There's nothing cooler than actually saying something funny and creative and having the wrestler react in real time, impacting the show in a fun way. It's the best way to do it.
Yeah, not in a disruptive way. Exactly.
Yeah, I think just to build on that too, like one thing that was on my mind watching this show, WWE is WWE. Let me enunciate as if I'm Paul E. Heyman. WWE is not a pro wrestling. They're the opposite of increasingly a pro wrestling. They're decreasingly a pro wrestling company. Like they're moving away from it constantly, and it's very clear. And I think that pro wrestling is such a magical thing that if you have the chance, just to Ari's point, like you could go to a WWE show. Sure, there's AEW, they have shows, but indie wrestling is also pretty magical, and you get that intimate feel, that intimate environment where you're really immersed. So I would just say to give like a few things a try.
It's a brilliant point. After the show, I immediately looked at my brother. I told him, "Hey, do you want to go to WrestleMania in Dallas?" And he said, "No." So I told him, "You know what I actually want to do? I want to go to a local indie show with you." And he says, "Ringside seats are $50." And I said, "That sounds perfect. Like I would love, go to an indie show if you can." I haven't
Yeah,
been to
Yeah.
one. It's
exactly.
on the bucket list above WrestleMania at this point.
Yeah,
and
and there are a lot of them to like pull from. I think, and we could probably go in listing out great promotions. But like one of them that comes to mind immediately for me that's more local is Wrestle Pro, and that's one that's partially run by Pat Buck, who is a WWE producer, and they always do a great job. So one example, if you're local, I think they have a show coming up in Rahway, in New Jersey, so not too far away. Check it out. Find indie wrestling, support it near you. It's awesome, and there's lots of great talent that was released this year that you could probably find there on the silver lining side of things.
So, Ari, where can the people find you?
You know what? You can find me on Twitter at Ari Ferarri, ARIFERARRI. Now, if you do that, I play Mario Party on Tuesdays and Fridays. I'm starting a community. Hope you can join. I stream on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
So let me know if you got Mario Party. We'll join Ari Ferarri. I like to Mario Party. Let's go.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes, we love it. Ari, thank you for being here. It's amazing to have you. I should say that people can find me at Matt Scott GW and just follow along there for the updates, for the latest, for all of the things. Mari, where could the people find and follow and stand you?
You can also find me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's two like the number two. And you can find me every week on post show recaps. Covering Insecure season 5, the 5th and final season of Insecure. Just go to search post show recaps. You can also look up Insecure and post show recaps show. Me and Chappelle and Latanya are always talking about Insecure over there. Latanya, it's still out. So this week we had the great Sasha Joseph on there talking about the latest episode. We are halfway through that season. I cannot believe we are already halfway through. But stick with us for this last journey that is Insecure. Also, for the Wrestling RHAPup podcast, you can find us on wherever you get your podcasts. Look up Wrestling RHAPup and subscribe, rate, and review to our Wrestling RHAPup feed. Leave us a 5-star review, and we might read it on the show. So for that, thank you again. Watch out for any flying elbows. Bye.